Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Today's show we focus on the charges that was given to the president, former president of the United States of America, President Donald Trump, and it has been a very, very difficult moment for most Americans. And uh, can you imagine a 70-year-old and experiencing the very first time that you were forced to be somewhere you didn't want to be? So it is the first time Trump has experienced this kind of arraignment or charges, in his life. He's 74 or 75, and we are witnessing a total public mental breakdown of a public official who should never be allowed to hold public office if he is convicted. And it is really sad for some Americans. But it is just like any other private citizen will be held accountable, and accountability has been the hallmark of American law. And we see Americans divided on this, but it is very simple. I'm greatly in favor of celebrating the fact that nobody is above the law, and that is far more significant than a former president being indicted, especially when former President Donald J. Trump has proven himself so very worth of being indicted for so many different and serious crimes. You have heard of different crimes that he was accused of. So it is very, very important for us to know about this, because it is, I know it's a sad day actually, but some people say it's a righteous one, because that reinforces the fact that no one is above the law. And most people in other countries want to see America uphold the law. So it is a good thing, because this is the first former president that has been charged with a crime, So no matter how much power you think you have, okay, you can never be above the law. And that is what people are happy. The common people, the common man is happy in America today because of what is going on today. And most of those people who are happy to see justice, those people who are happy to see the law take its turn, they're happy. Okay, so that's why they will say it's that it's today isn't a sad day. Some say it's a sad day, but some people say no, it's a happy day that brings the Americans together, and even though they are divided, but you see those you see those other people trying to give their own ideas. But what we know about America and what people are proud of America today is the law, American democracy. That is what makes America great. And if President Trump, his slogan, is "Make America Great Again," okay, that is his slogan. And so today, you saw him respecting the law by turning up himself, going to the court. He's being processed like any other American, okay? Americans are just now giving him some accountability. Of many of crimes that he was accused of before. He was the first president to be given different types of accusations. First president to have him levy different charges on him. Even the January 6th riot that happened, the January 6th protest that happened, he was also accused of inciting that. And what is striking is not that a man was served as president was arrested, but rather that multitude of alleged crimes committed. Because when you have a president that has been accused of so many crimes and people don't see accountability, people say, but what is going on? People want to see justice. People want to see the same level of accountability being leveled to anyone. Okay, that is what people wanted to see. And people today, you can see so many Americans happy. Okay, they said they will survive. This is just fine. They have survived much worse incident than this one, so this is nothing. Okay, and they say this man and this nation need accountability. It's true. America is great because of its accountability, because of its upholding the rule of law. That is what America is. You know, unbelievable that he gets away with actual threats against the DA. We saw him trying to talk some stuff against the wife of the DA. You know, but we hope that he's not gonna be running his mouth, because he is now being charged with those 34 different charges, and it's not easy for you to go away with 34 charges. You know what I'm saying? Especially ones that we have to do with different types of campaign violations, tax fraud, and that ability to cover up those crimes. Those are things that cannot be I heard when the DA was talking about, he has a lot of evidence. They have had a lot of interview, different witnesses, and this is what is American law. Okay, we want to see accountability and consequences for all these politicians enriching themselves and committing crimes who, for the most part, never face any problem. We want to start seeing accountability, because America is the hallmark of true democracy. We want to see this happening everywhere in the world. Okay, if America stands as the number one democracy in the world, democracy is law, is accountability. That's democracy. Democracy is not just about election. It's about holding people to account, respecting the rule of law. Okay, we want to see accountability and consequences for all those people who are broken the law. That is what we want to see, and America should stand up for that. We are happy. Okay, I get tired of hearing DeSantis, the Florida governor, and other Republicans have to defend former President Trump. They don't have to defend anyone. Okay, they choose to do it to keep from alienating his base. Okay, because they are also running. You remember, DeSantis is also running. Is also running for office, and I think that DeSantis should have that courage to keep his Trump's base, because just in case Trump will not be running, DeSantis will be the one to really head that ticket for the Republicans. Okay, and we also hear that additional charges can be leveled on former President Trump if he attempts to obstruct the justice. Obstruction of justice is a whole different charges that can be, because we hear he's talking trash about the DA's wife, which is obstruction of justice, and by means of those threats and intimidation, that's exactly what Trump is doing. Because when you have threats and intimidation, like he did in the January 6th by calling for a rally and people not to respect President Biden's election as president, he made a lot of people go to jail. And a lot of people are seeing that as those obstruction of justice. If Trump decides he gonna escalate these verbal attacks against Bragg, then maybe he should be held accountable in jail also, because you don't obstruct justice. And always, we have seen this so many times, Trump has always been doing this, obstructing justice, and no one is holding him accountable. So he sees this as an opportunity to keep obstructing justice, and no one can hold him accountable. Okay, but this time around, we just see how the American justice system is taking its turn, and I hope he will learn from this and try to do what is right for justice to go smoothly. Okay. From this report, we can get some information about what went with President Trump.
Welcome to the News Hour. Today was an unprecedented day in American history. Former President Donald Trump arrested and arraigned in a Manhattan courtroom, the first U.S. president to face criminal charges.
Mr. Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records relating to hush money payments during the 2016 campaign. And with the indictment unsealed today, we're learning new details about the Manhattan District Attorney's case and the former president's defense.
Donald Trump tonight, now a criminal defendant.
President Trump.
The first former U.S. president to be arrested on criminal charges in connection to his alleged role in a hush money payment scheme. This afternoon, Mr. Trump traveled by motorcade from Trump Tower to surrender to authorities at the district attorney's office in Lower Manhattan. While in custody, the former president was fingerprinted, but received special accommodations. He was not handcuffed or put in a jail cell and did not have his mugshot taken. The judge in the case did not allow video cameras in the courtroom, but permitted a handful of still photographers to take pictures. During a nearly hour-long proceeding, Mr. Trump was arraigned and charged with 34 felonies. The former president pleaded not guilty.
Look up, Stormy, look up.
The case involves payoffs through an intermediary to adult film actress Stormy Daniels to conceal an alleged affair ahead of the 2016 election. Following the arraignment, Mr. Trump's attorney spoke to reporters.
He's frustrated, he's upset, but I'll tell you what, he's motivated, and it's not going to stop him, and it's not going to slow him down.
And Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who has faced an onslaught of attacks from Mr. Trump and his supporters, defended the charges.
As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle.
Earlier Tuesday, dozens of Trump supporters flocked to Lower Manhattan, heeding the former president's calls to protest. Among them was Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
They're coming after President Trump today, and they will come after you tomorrow. President Trump did nothing wrong.
And scandal-ridden GOP Congressman George Santos.
I'm here to support the President of the United States, who's being unfairly attacked by a DA.
A team of New York City police, Secret Service, and court security barricaded and controlled the crush of a crowd. As members of the media stood in line for hours for a seat inside the courtroom, where the former president faced Judge Juan Merchan, who just this morning Mr. Trump called highly partisan and a well-known Trump hater. He also said the case should be moved to nearby Staten Island, which he views as friendlier political ground. Tonight, Donald Trump returns to his Mar-a-Lago home, where he's addressing his arraignment in a primetime speech.
To give us a sense of what happened in that courtroom today, I'm joined by Andrea Bernstein. She covers democracy for ProPublica and Trump legal matters for NPR, and is the author of American Oligarchs: The Kushners, the Trumps, and the Marriage of Money and Power. Andrea, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. Most of us saw just brief glimpses of those proceedings today. For example, the short video clip of Mr. Trump, very somber, being led into that courtroom earlier today. But you were in the room, so describe for us what it was like in the room, what you observed.
as you can see, that's former president entering the courthouse, and with all the population that was there to protest, and there was also counter-protesting, and that is what happened in New York today. So it was a different day for America, and as we see in that.
Around the room, Secret Service.
Joining us, most of us saw just brief glimpses of those proceedings today. For example, the short video clip of Mr. Trump, very somber, being led into that courtroom earlier today. But you were in the room, so describe for us what it was like in the room, what you observed.
So in one sense, it was totally normal. Here is the very same courtroom where Trump's former chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, was indicted and pleaded guilty. This was the courtroom where Trump's own company was last December found guilty of multiple felonies. But it was also extraordinary because first of all, the security was like nothing I've ever seen. There were court officers lining the center aisle, all around the room, Secret Service, police. There was an atmosphere, no laptops, no electronics, enforced quiet. You could hear a little bit of the protests. But there was the former president of the United States having to say to a judge, not guilty, something we have obviously never seen and quite extraordinary to see in person.
34 counts, as we mentioned, of falsifying business records in the first degree. We're going to dive more deeply into the legal details in just a moment, but you have covered him for so long. I just need to ask, what stands out to you about these charges?
As you can see in the report, it is very clear. This is a good sign for America, okay? No one is above the law, okay? When you do something that is against the law of America, you will be held accountable. And that is what people are very happy today. It was very striking to see a former president, the first time in American history, being served with so many different charges. But it was a good thing for America, okay? It was a good thing for America that no one can commit crime and go free, okay? Everyone should be held on the same standard, accountability when you break the law, okay? That is good thing for America. And for me, I'm okay. I'm very glad that when we talk about America, we always say, look at America, okay? I'm happy with that. Very, very happy with that decision by the DA today to make America proud again by making sure the rule of law, accountability, and anyone that breaks the law should be held accountable. That is very good. I'm very glad with that. Yeah.
To conceal a conspiracy in New York, to violate campaign finance laws by conspiring to, in essence, disrupt an election, also a violation of federal laws by giving donations in excess, and a violation to further a violation of tax laws. So we learned all that today, and then there was also extensive back and forth about the former president's social media posts and how they may affect these legal proceedings.
Andrea, you've covered him for so long. You've noticed everything about Mr. Trump. I just wondered, to see him in this way, to be sitting at that table like any other criminal defendant, what strikes you about that?
So we have never, so many people have asked me over the years, is he ever going to be indicted? Is he going to be held accountable? His company was, of course, convicted last year, but he hasn't been. And here's a case where the prosecutor stood up and said the rule of law applies. The judge also treated the former president in that way. The rule of law applies. Something that's happened in other countries, but never here. And I think there is a truth-telling that goes on in a court of law that is very different from the political sphere that we are about to see play out in this new case, the people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump.
There's a long way to go ahead, Andrea. Briefly, in the time we have left, what will you be watching?
Well, I'm going to be watching to see how Mr. Trump's legal team handles the timing, because they're going to try to sort of get the case dismissed, perhaps delay. But on the other hand, there's a presidential election coming up, and the more they do that, the more that they potentially put a potential trial right in the middle of high campaign season, which is really something that we've never seen before in this country.
Andrea Bernstein, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very nice report there, and we all know what happened to the president. He was accused of paying money, hush money, to a porn star. The former president is charged with about 34 different charges, and you know, when you have those charges, you don't know. So I'm just greatly in favor of celebrating the fact that nobody is above the law. That is far more significant than any other thing, or than maybe a former president being indicted, because there is no person that is above the law, and we want to see this happen, okay? And if he continues to run his mouth and doing all the fishy stuff, the judge will put a gag order on him. And once you put a gag order, I can see this happening because Trump liked to speak a lot, you know. Okay, yeah, you know, sometimes he will say anything and doesn't care the consequence. But once you have been put a gag order, they will tell you, you have the right to remain silent. You can't speak. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law at any time. So gag orders, if they give him a gag order, he will not have anything to say no more. So I hope he remain like a respectful citizen and respect the rule of law, so that the case can run smoothly, you know, as every American, and that would be nice. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be happy to see you subscribe to my channel, and I'll be bringing more updates about different political issues and different issues. So please subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.